two freshmen standing out: wide receiver Dallas Wilson and edge Jayden Woods. Let's just stay right here with Jayden Woods since we just talking about the edge spot. Look, he's picking up where he left off. Remember, he was a name Billy Napier singled out. Go back to early signing day. They're talking about all the new signees and all that, and Billy Napier said, he pretty much singled him out. Thought the guy was underrated, that he could be a special player. He did that in the spring and in the offseason. Billy Napier talking about Woods. So let's go back last week. We'll play a quick soundbite from our Independent Gator Media Day where I asked Jayden Woods about the praise he's received so far.
Jayden, your name came up a lot when Coach was talking about young freshmen that he's been impressed with so far. How was it like hearing that? And, of course, we didn't even play the game yet. But how does it feel being able to hear that? And what kind of work did you put in to kind of get noticed right away like that?
Yes, sir. I just came in and put my head down and went to work, just tried to do everything 100% the best I could. It's really it's an honor to hear that, but, I try not to let that linger in my head for too long, take it, appreciate it, and then just scrap it and keep working.
Well, Sponge, seems like he's keeping working. Yeah. So he's done that, putting his head down and working. Put that head down. Let's go. Started the spring game. Let's not remember that. Let's not forget that. Started the spring game at Edge for Florida. 250 pounds after a great offseason. And Zach Alberverdi has reported that he's getting reps with the ones. So possibly already the staff feeling that he can be, subbed in for George Gums and or LJ McCray and be a force there. Gums, going back to his media availability last week on Jayden Woods. So Gums said he had a lot of team records in the weight room at the outside linebacker position until Jayden Woods showed up. So already, and Gums asked who's going to be the surprise player on defense like him last season, and he says Jayden Woods. Yeah. So look, this isn't a transfer like Gums who's coming in and going to be that newcomer who's had some years of college football behind him and going to be the newcomer. No, he's talking it's going to be a true freshman who did the things that I did last year. Yeah. This is a true freshman coming in, turning head sponge, and it really does. It continues from spring, and we heard about all the work putting in. And we got to talk to him last week at the Independent Gator Media Day. He was the first one on arrival. He was the first one to show up. What you want in a player. For on and off.
A1, baby.
A1. On the field, off the field. We can get in trouble with expecting true freshmen to do a lot of things. Yeah. But the two we're about to talk about, and we'll start with Jayden Woods right here. I don't know if we're overhyping or not. It does seem like this guy's going to be on the field. And look, edge is a hard spot. Now, sometimes I guess you can pick your spots and, hey, go get the quarterback.
Yeah.
But he might be a little further along than just that.
Yeah. No, I think just from hearing some of the reports and stuff is he – I think he can be not just a guy who's be like, all right, just go get the quarterback on 3rd and long. And like I say, he's done everything that you want a player to do. He's got the right mindset. He's got the right attitude. Just listening to that soundbite you just pulled up is, all right, cool. I'm getting praised by the head coach. I'm getting praised by the coaches. I'm getting praised by my teammates, all that. I'll take that, pat on the back, cool, but I'm going to put my blinders on, go to work, put my head down, and, that's the right attitude to have, especially as a young guy. So when you do those things, good things are going to happen. And, like I say, he's going to work hard. So, he's going to put in that work to, to be the best on the field. So I think we're going to have – and that's, again, like you said, it's a hard line to draw when you say – are we pumping this guy up? Are we hyping him up too much? Are we hearing too much? He's a true freshman. And then, by game 3, 4, 5, you're like, well, Jayden Woods hadn't showed up at all. I ain't seen nothing from him. And that might happen, or it might be reversal. So it's one of those things of, again, going back to how we stated at the very beginning is, you got to wait and see. You got to take that wait and see approach. And, we're going to find out. But from all accounts and all accords to what this guy's done since he's been, on campus is – he's going to be that guy. So I'm truly looking forward to the expectation level is raised for him, because when you got coaches and teammates, giving you that praise as well, that's where, those guys are with you every day. They're not like us or, a couple, where you see a little bit and you hear those guys are with him. So when you're with them in the trenches and you see what he's doing, you kind of see the capability that he can have, so that's where the sky's the limit. And, so that's big time that, we've got some true freshmen that can make, an impact, early on in the season and be, contributors and be, just add more depth, add more layers to the squad.
Yeah, and you said it might even allow you to be a little bit more flexible.
Right.
With, like I said, he at some points maybe he's on the field at the same time as Gums.
Right.
And Sapp, in third down situations.
Yeah, I was about to say, like you say, can you imagine a Sapp, Caleb Banks, Gums, and Jayden Woods on the field at the same time?
I mean, if it's 3rd and 8, I know who I'm calling out there. I mean, it sounds like a good pass rush package to me. So
that's what I'm saying. So obviously the coaches ain't dumb, so they're going to be smart, and well, at least you hope they're not dumb. Sometimes we outthink ourselves as coaches for sure. I don't know what it is sometimes with I'll lump myself in the coaches just be smart. Come on, you got put the best players on the field at the same time. It's like the Jags a couple years ago, like, oh, let's not have Trayvon Walker on the field with Josh Hines Allen. Like what do you those guys should be on the field every rep they can. Get your best package, and again, you gotta spare it when you're pass rush specialist. You gotta have a pass rush specialist package. So hopefully the guys are gonna have the right players on the field. That's A1, number one. But I feel confident in the staff on having the best guys on the field. So if Jayden Woods has made these huge steps, like I say, I can't wait to see it take place.
Yeah, and look, it's something that's hopefully they learned their lesson last year. Because remember at the beginning of last year when there were so many rotations, there were so many players. Like it gives Miami and Texas A&M, it's like, why is that guy playing now? Why is this guy playing now? And it's just like they were trying to figure too many things out along the way, or trying to make too many guys happy because of the transfer portal or whatever.
Right.
It's just like, no. And you can't afford it right now. I mean, granted, you don't have Miami to open up with or anything, but this thing needs to be ready to go right away. When you go to Baton Rouge, you got Miami game 4. Like these lineups need to be figured out. There needs to be a guessing game.
Totally. What did Gums call him? And you see Zach's article, he called him Michael Myers.
Oh yeah,
he's scary, man. He's silent and scary. So hey,
but I enjoyed meeting him last week. Jayden Woods, I'm telling you, it's a good kid. And that's one thing I know it's all about wins and losses. It's all about wins and losses for me. But and I've said this before, I'll say it again. Big credit to Billy Napier and this staff. There's a lot of good kids in that locker room.
Yeah, good guys for sure.
I mean, I've gotten to hang out with them because Access and stuff, and Collective and Florida Victorious, all that stuff. I've gotten to hang around the players a lot more than we get used to in the past. There's a lot of good people in that building, and that's one of the. I hope it works out. I hope it works out.
Yeah.
One last player we'll talk about, Dallas Wilson, also getting first team reps, and no, if it's really, I'm not shocked by any means.
Not at all.
But apparently getting reps at that X spot, and a lot of players were talking about Dallas Wilson last week, Sponge. Go back to last Thursday's media availability. Here's what teammates had to say about Dallas Wilson. Let's go to Devin Moore. Quote, he's definitely a unique receiver. I like to tease him and talk a little smack. He motivates me. I motivate him. George Gums Jr. says on who's standing out on offense, Dallas Wilson. Dallas Wilson. He can play. George Gums Jr. loves him some freshman now.
Right, yeah.
And Hayden Henson says he's given us no doubt that he's going to be who he says he's going to be. I'm really excited for him, says Hayden Henson about wide receiver Dallas Wilson. Of course, everybody remembers that big spring game that he had, but that just kind of continued all the talk about him throughout spring practice and those freshman receivers, the other guys as well.
Yeah.
But he was the one who had the biggest show out for the spring game. And look, the report says, if there's 3 wide receivers, if Wilson's at the X, what does that mean for the other spots here? So according to that report from Zach Alberverdi, J. Michael Sturdivant would move over to the slot if Dallas Wilson's on the field. He'd move to the slot to the H position, so cross-training at the H spot, at the X spot. And the other spot is Trey Wilson's, and he's moving around as well at the Z and the H positions, much like we saw Chimere Dike last season. So
right.
This really is nothing new as a staff. They do a ton of cross-training at the wide receiver spots. But Dallas Wilson, man, just get some outside reps. He's mostly concentrating on the outside, but that's a good combo here. And then Sturdivant, moving him inside at 6'3", 213. That's a size and a speed that's hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
Devin Moore said last week, he's got that bigger build, and I don't know if you guys know, but in high school, he also ran a 10-3 in track. He talks about J. Michael Sturdivant. So he's got a lot of speed, too. Don't let the size fool you. This complements his game. So Florida's got some versatile receivers. We've all liked this group that they've had. Dallas Wilson, I don't know if he starts right away, but it certainly seems like, all right, well, he's going to get some runs with the one. He may not be out there rep one, game one, but he's at some point going to be in with DJ Lagway and Trey Wilson and J. Michael Sturdivant as the other two receivers out there. Sponge going to it. We'll go back to make and break again. What does this mean for somebody like Aiden Mizell?
Exactly. That's what's funny is we had that conversation, and I even had some buddies who watched that episode and talked to me. And they were on the question on the fence with Mizell, and I was like, I agree. I'm on the fence with Mizell. You're on the fence with Mizell. A lot of people are. But what I did say was, if Dallas Wilson is the guy, Billy G is going to play Dallas Wilson. Billy Napier is going to play Dallas Wilson. So my thing is, if Dallas Wilson is that Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, phenom freshman, you got to have him on the field. He's going to be on the field. And then that just complements Trey and Sturdivant, because I think Trey and Sturdivant, man, they look good right now too. Just what they've done in the offseason, like we just said, 6'3" for, Sturdivant, and can run the 10-3. We know what Trey and Eugene can do when he's 100% healthy, and the type of plays he can make. So, and what he's done in the offseason as well, like the way he looks, physically compacted, he looks like a beast too. So now you're saying, okay, what does Dallas Wilson look like? Is he the guy? Is Mizell then bumped out and bumped down to that fourth receiver? Where does he fit in? And it's again, going back, guess what? I love it. Give me that competition.
Yeah.
Give me the more weapons. Give me that, flexibility. Like you say, cross training. That's one of the things as a receiver coach. Yeah, I want all my guys to really be able to play all the spots. I want them to know the route tree, where they need to go. If one guy goes down and I like him better at this spot, I can move him. So it's not just some random thing in the game where you're like, all right, I don't really run corner routes. I don't, and then you're running bad routes, got bad spacing, all that stuff. You want to be able to know where to be at all times. You want all those guys to be able to play multiple positions so that you can kind of be flexible and say, all right, we can move this guy around here. We can put him here. We'll put Trey in the slot. We'll put Trey outside. Well, this is going to be my gadget guy, all that stuff. So I love the way this receiver room is shaping up because, again, I love VB3 and I love Montgomery, the way he's looking. There's some other guys, Hawkins, that room is filled right now with full of potential. So
in the video that was just released, I was talking about an hour before, there was Tank Hawkins making plays.
Yeah, exactly. VB3 had a touchdown on one of those. So again, that's where you got to play the best guy. And, so if these guys are coming in physically imposing, looking like dudes like a Jeremiah Smith and a Ryan Williams, I'll keep using those two because those were the guys that everybody leaned on last year. It was Cam Coleman at Auburn. They just physically look different. And so they got to be on the field, So if Dallas Wilson, and here's the thing, we saw what he can do with Harrison Bailey throwing the ball, in spring. So give me Dallas Wilson with DJ Lagway. Let's go. So I love the components of everything that's coming to shape, everything that's coming to form. Our biggest hiccup and question mark was Stu going to be throwing balls, and so we talked about it at the very off rip, the first minute. He's throwing footballs right now, so eye in the sky, sunshine pump, let's go. It's all about everything positive. We're 4 weeks away, 5 weeks away, whatever it is. So Dallas Wilson, I think, is going to be that dude, and so I can't wait to watch it take place.
And with these two guys we just talked about, Jayden Woods, Dallas Wilson, if they're true freshmen, if they're getting reps with the ones, it's not like it's given to them. It's not like a Jervon Dexter in 2020. Not saying he didn't earn it, but Florida had no help in the middle of that defensive line. And there's Jervon Dexter as a true freshman having to play in probably one of the hardest spots to play in the SEC is right in the interior defensive line. But for Florida's deep at receiver. Or we think they're deep at receiver.
Yeah, right.
Florida's got options at edge. If these two guys are out there with the ones, and there's already guys that we feel pretty comfortable with anyway, they are impressive. They're putting the work in. That it's just not coming in and just because there's nobody else. Yeah. No, they're earning it because there's other guys that are playing just as good as them or at a high level. but you can't keep them off the field.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. You know, competition breeds, hopefully excellence, and that's what you hope you're getting from here. But hearing these true freshmen at the positions that they're already getting 1 reps in, that's impressive.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I say, it does. What I talked about too earlier was like the good part is when you look at this roster construction and like what they've added, what they've brought in, who they retained. It's looking good in parts where in the past where we're like, man, we ain't got nothing behind this guy. The depth is not there. Like right now going in, this is probably one of the best rosters we've had. Again, I said it earlier, it's in a while. And to where
we had a discussion on Gators Breakdown Plus about this today.
Yeah.
Best roster since when?
Oof.
I said 2020. That was
definitely
coaching malpractice, not a talent deficiency.
Definitely 2020 because that was a loaded roster with Trask and all those receivers and stuff like that, and we had some pretty good defensive guys too.
Right.
But yeah,
it's just
so we're talking about 4 or 5 seasons, and that's a cycle. So that's basically when Dan checked out and we got Billy in, and I was thinking about it today. I'm like, everybody's been on Billy's case and all that, and they talk about he can recruit well and is a good people person, all that good stuff. Can he make those in-game coaching things? And that's been the biggest hang up. So it's again, what I've realized in coaching is it is about the Jimmies and Joes. And if you got dudes, your X's and O's, if you think you got good X's and O's, which everybody does, it's all about coming together, putting it all in that mixing pot, putting all the ingredients in. And then you get to find out, so that's why, I think Billy is finally feeling a little confident. Maybe that's why he's feeling himself. Spot the ball. Let's go. Let's play some football. Like I've got a roster now. I've got some dudes. I know I can call some plays, so now it's put up or shut up time to find all that out. Everybody's on notice. So, and guess what? We're about to spot the ball. We're about to kick it off. We're about to do all those things. So it's coming. So we're going to find out, where the rubber meets the road. Who's been putting in the work, who hasn't, is who's feeling confident, who's not, and that's the great part about football, man. It's everybody feels the same way. Everybody's team. If you listen to a Texas podcast right now, Texas Arch Manning's baby, he's throwing it darts, he's throwing dimes out there. So
it's still talking season.
Exactly. So that's what you do until you get it out there and you actually can critique and criticize what's going right and what's going wrong.